Welcome, everyone. This is Behind the Booth. We are your hosts, the Forrest, the Bobby J, the Ed Boy, and we have a guest. And please introduce yourself, good sir.
Hi, I'm Pandaking Stickers. I just go by Panda, honestly.
The one and only.
Yeah, the one and only.
You'll see him at many cons, like I have.
Yes. Oh yeah. Especially being in the Northwest.
What's your most recent con?
My most recent one, I was actually, it's been a while. It was September.
Wow.
I went to Anna Medford in Medford, Oregon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How was that?
Slow, but good. It's a small con.
Oh, okay,
so,
okay.
like, you can tell that it's run by the same people who do Gem State by Marina. So there's, like, a lot of love in it. But I think it was one of those situations. It was like they were basically in, like, a barn the year before. And then they switched over to their new rec center.
Yeah.
So they said they had, like, double or triple the space for artists and vendors. And so they doubled the number. Okay. So it was like, okay, cool, you doubled that, but double the people didn't come in. So it felt really slow, but it was one of those things like people that were going like, oh my god, it was so much busier than last year, and was like,
interesting.
I wasn't here last year. I drove 14 hours. And I'm wondering what's going on, but no, it was really fun. All of Marina's cons are fantastic. We've been to so far.
I feel like normally the smaller cons are better almost for an artist.
1,000%.
Because you're not like fighting 1,000 people, but then you just have, I feel like it's like loyal goers. It's not like Anime Expo.
Niche community.
Yeah.
Because I think like the issue with like the bigger cons, some of them just cost so much to get in.
Well, oh my god. So story time. So we were just looking into getting into it was FanX Salt Lake.
Ooh.
And I'm looking at the table prices and it's like, what do you mean it's $525 for a fucking corner table? Like, what? And then we're like looking at the vendor spaces.
The vendors are like 1,000 minimum.
Oh, yeah. It was like, what was $1,600 for an inline?
What?
It was no like.
So this year they're doing a whole different thing. Like I know you know about it, but you don't. I think they're doing some. It's like a smaller venue, or it's the same venue, but they're doing some renovations, so it's smaller this year.
Yeah.
But it's
For
new
FanX?
for FanX. Yeah. Okay. So it's like a new people running it too,
Oh,
Really?
or at least they're going through the applications and stuff. So that's why everything's coming out really slow.
Okay.
Look at your fucking amateur hour over here.
Well, this year they're actually going through them, like the applications physically, because
They're actually vetting them this
yes,
time.
because
Like,
we've heard. Either or Artist Alley hasn't been good. There's been a lot of AI art. You just kind of deal with that.
That's the
So this thing, they're trying to vet them now, and they're even doing that with the vendors. So she's doing like 100 to 150 like a week is from what I think the email
they
said.
had a bunch of complaints last year about FanX.
Well, and I know
vendors
that
and
was
stuff.
one of the most FanX in general, not Fan Expo, FanX.
Yeah.
Was really notorious for selling the pods. So it was like one person would buy 10 tables and then lease those tables out to buddies. And so then at the end of the year, instead of it was like, okay, everybody line up to book your table, you'd have 1,000 people vying for 2 spots. And so when that email went out, I mean, you got it. It was like, we're not doing that anymore. You get 1 table if you're an Artist Alley. It was like, holy crap.
The Artist Alley Mafia, dog.
Finally.
Well, there's a lot of people just trying to get in and stuff, right? And
yeah.
Every year that we've done this, right? FanX has
Like
always
last year,
insane.
I had an issue with family, and I was like, wasn't able to apply because I wasn't on Instagram at the time, looking at the applications open, so I missed it. So I was like, oh, that's fine. Got waitlisted, and I was like, hey, we can do a vendor booth if that's fine. She's like, oh, instantly accepted me because it was just like, I feel like vendors are just easier to get into at least. When it first started, I don't know how it is now.
Yeah.
I haven't emailed back yet, but it was just like, I got in, spent probably 11 for the booth.
Wow.
We were in a good spot.
It was.
It was back by all the autographs, and we were like a corner. No one was really by us, so it was just like people would come and like, "Oh, you're over here." Like, yeah, we're in the back.
Yep.
Hey, that's rad though. I mean, those exhibitor spaces are worth it.
Oh yeah.
Like just the general space. Like we're doing our first vendor space, both my partner and I, in the end of March in Isekai.
Oh, okay, you didn't vendor. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so and that'll be interesting because we never had a 10 by 10. Like we've had an 8-foot table, and even now it's like I have 250 listings plus. I have to get all of that into a 6-foot table. Like, what is wrong with me? Why have I decided to do this?
It's okay, we understand that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just one of those things. Like anymore between like how hard it is to fight for the artist alley spots. It's like, if I'm going to spend a little bit more money and I know I can make that money at a show, why not just go for an exhibitor?
Also this year for vendors at FanX, there's locations. So you have Artist Alley, which is just flat artists. It's either you have Artist Alley or corner table, like inline or corner. So 2 different pricing. And then there's zones for exhibitors.
Oh, interesting.
So like where we were this year is like a $2,000 table.
What?
Yeah.
Well, there's one area, it was like $6,800.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts. I
those are like your big, those are your big, like,
gotcha.
your sword guys or your
your
companies, Funko Pop,
leather, works
leather
or whatever.
The people that make Boohoo Bucks normally have those counts.
So it's just like this year they're like zoning them, and then how they're letting people in. I'm not sure how they're vetting it. Because there was a lot of, like, at first it was like they're supposed to go through your application via when you applied. But I applied, like, instantly. And then there was another application that came out. I was like, we forgot to add this in.
What?
If you didn't fill it out in this, like, because I filled it out so early, I guess it wasn't in.
Oh,
so it's like, here's your fix application.
Auxiliary,
So you just, like, add a few extra things. And it was like, keep your spot in line.
Oh, cool.
I don't know at this point because I haven't heard anything back.
Yeah, neither have I.
So I'm just like, okay, maybe I was just late.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
But it was just like, so they have a whole different vetting process this year. And then it's interesting. I like it. I like it better than, just kind of free for all, first come, first serve.
Well, and I feel like sometimes, like, we went to ALA last year, and that show it's like you're sold out in minutes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But like the selection was great. But I think that was one of those things too. Like, I think it was kind of, I mean, we'll probably touch on the AI thing eventually, but like it was the beginning of that trying to creep. Because you heard of some cons, like SoccerCon had issues, Phantom had issues, and it was like, okay, like we didn't see a single piece of it there. And either they vetted them after the fact, or it was one of those things like people were just good about it and they just knew what was going on. But like seeing all these places go lottery, it's like, cool, you are taking that, like, what's the accountability?
Yeah.
It's like, well, we didn't
let it in yet.
It's like, what are you talking about?
To me, as an artist, I like 2 different ways, or 3, I would say. If I was a con runner, my recommendation would be, if you're big, lottery is the best thing, because then you can get a mixture of big and small. You do need the vet, obviously, still to get rid of AI and stuff that's
as
not
well.
supposed to
You
be
just
there.
need 2 systems with it.
Yeah.
And then I do like just vetting in general, where you choose your favorite.
Yep.
And then you can be like, oh, maybe we got them last year, maybe don't get them this year. Like if you're trying to get cycle people. Or you do locals. Try to get more locals in.
Yeah.
Like you do like 60% is locals, so you get smaller artists, and then you can try to get the out-of-staters.
Yeah.
Those would be my recommendations. But
You do have your weird cons that are like, okay, we want more out-of-state people than locals. I think that's kind of weird.
It's like it makes sense because to me, I feel like if you are traveling, normally you're like a more well-established.
Like a bigger audience.
Yeah.
But then it feels bad, like because we went through our booth. Like our first booth picture we took, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's not great.
My God.
It's legit like
It's not great.
Well, I think it's like 5 high, and then it just goes straight across. There's no like things in between, and it's just like we stuck stickers on, and it's just like a mess.
Dude, we're going to like, we made this much money, but we only sold stickers and like tiny
really?
prints, and we're
Really?
like, what the fuck did we even sell?
We made
God.
almost
Like
our
half the
average.
selection.
Yeah, we made almost our normal average at most cons. Just selling small stickers and a handful of big ones. We had 5 prints.
Yeah.
What con did you guys go
It was
to?
FanX.
Seriously.
That was our first con.
Holy shit. You guys went all in.
Yeah. Well,
Like-
it's close to home, so it's just
I
like
guess that's fair.
in my
I
head,
guess
I'm
it's
like,
fair.
I think the table at the time was only like 350,
Oh, that's not
400.
bad.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not too bad. And then we made a lot, so I'm like, oh, I can probably travel and make money. And then I don't know. I feel like after FanX, because it was right after COVID when we first started conning.
I think,
Sure.
I think
It was
And
like
it
the
was
first
like everyone had
opening.
money, so that's like, oh, man, how do we make this much money? And like I'm struggling more now than I was when I first started. And we have
more shit.
Well,
10,000 pieces.
I don't think you're the only one though. Like, I mean, I'm the same way. Like, I think a lot of it is I think people just don't. I just don't think they have as much like the spending money right now.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I've talked to many artists. I won't say names, but
Sure.
one of them came up to me at a San Francisco, and she does like fancy earrings and stuff, like a bigger artist, and I think she's real big, a lot of high numbers on like Instagram and stuff. Sure. And she was like, "Oh yeah," so I was like at this con like 2 years ago, just like right after COVID. She's like, "I made like 1,600 at this con," and I'm like, "Oh my, that's real good." And she's like, and then last year we made like 8,000, and then this year, this year we made 2. And I was like,
wow. 8,000 at one con?
Well, 16 to 8 to 2.
That's
and it was like a bigger con. And like, I went to her booth. It's just tons of like earrings and knickknacks, fancy stuff. And you're just like, accessories, thank you. And it's just like, wow, she went from there to that. And it's like, it's all nice stuff, but it's just no one has money to spend.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things, like, it's not like you see a negative response to your stuff. Like, especially, it's hard when you're online, because depending on, like, what your follower base is or whatever, like, and of course, algorithms and all that other shit. You have no idea what people like, are thinking. Yeah. So then you get in person, it's like, oh, okay, I made all this new stuff, everyone really likes it, but they're just, this money's tight.
No one has the money to buy anything.
So you feel a lot better about it. You're not just sitting there just like, oh, man, my stuff's not selling. What do I do?
It's like, is it me? Because this year, I've traveled to so many cons this past year, and I've been next to a lot of first-time vendors, and it's just like, oh, like, I'm like, oh, how's it going? And they're like, it was okay. And it's like my first time, so we didn't make like a crazy amount. We made like table plus, some random stuff. I'm like, oh, you're local? They're like, yeah. It's like, I'm like, oh, that's fine. I'm like, this year has been a horrible year for all artists. Yep. So just whatever you're expecting now, it's probably a good goal. That is what you'll get almost everywhere. Yeah. So if you want to travel, expect what you got here to be your average, because it's rough.
Well, and it's kind of funny. Like I'm in a Discord with a bunch of other like anime sticker guys. Like there's some from SoCal, Houston, they're all over the place, right? Yeah. And we were all been talking about like all the different conventions, and apparently like the Texas cons used to be really good. Yeah. And my buddy had split off from his old company, made his new one, and he's like, I can't make more than like $400 at a show. Wow. And I was like, well, let me tell you a story, sir. And it was like, looking at the numbers, the first part of last year, I mean, you probably saw it. We were good. Yep. Things were up. And then the farther and farther we got in the year, things started to kind of taper down. And that's when he split off. And I was like, it's not you. Yeah. Like, I think that's the one thing. Like, I'm trying to tell all my friends, I'm like, don't give this up. Yeah. Like, I know it's really hard right now. But, like, if you have something to supplement this, or, like, you're still just making it, keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. This year's just been such like a struggle bus for almost everybody. Yeah. Like this year was my plan was to slow down. Yeah. because last year I did a lot of cons. I did I think almost 20 like for the year. Shit. It's under that, but it's in that range.
Wait, what goals did you have last year? Like
12. You want to do one a month.
Yeah. And then this year I was like, I'm gonna slow down.
I'm gonna do 15.
My plan was to go back. My plan was to go back to one a month. But then I was like, okay, so my first half of the year I have 4. That's like one for each month.
Yeah. No, that's not bad.
And I'm like, that's pretty good. And then I was like applying. I'm like May, March, and then June. It's like 4, 6, 4, 4. I'm like, what happened? What did I do?
He blanked out and like,
I mean, it's not like we didn't double up on some of them.
Yeah, we have some double ups this year. We're like 2 big cons, 1 shifted.
Oh,
and,
really?
It's like reapply. So I'm like, I'll just reapply, not paying attention to the days because I'm like, it's fine. And I applied and it was like, oh, you got it. And I'm like, nice. And then I looked and I write it down. I'm like, I got a con that day.
I'm like, uh-oh.
Hey, bye. It's time to start selling. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So we doubled up twice. And 2 big cons, and then 1 is like a bigger con, and then a random con I applied for last year that I got into. Okay. So I don't know if
Milwaukee.
It's the Milwaukee one.
Oh, wow.
So I have no clue if it's good. It was just like, I want to go to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
But then it lined up with another one, and I was like, oh, that sucks.
Hey, I feel like it's one of those things. It's what is it? An abundance of riches, or whatever it's called. It's like, it sucks, it's happening, but at the same time, it's like, yes, like get a little, like this will be a really good weekend. It'll make up for something that's not. Yeah, that's rad though. Yeah.
I'm just like, oh well, there goes the 12 that I was aiming for, and we're back at like 14 already. I'm like, well, next time.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing, honestly. Like, I think I'm guaranteed, I think 3 this year so far, and then I think I'm only applying to a few more. Okay. Because it was one of those things, like, I love going to cons. It's like, I'm as much as an introvert as I kind of am online, I blow up when I'm talking to people, you know.
I'm the same way. Like, I'm in the Discord for Utah.
Okay, yeah.
I've never texted in the Discord because I don't want to be that guy. Like, everyone's talking. I'm like, they'll ask about something. I'm like, I have the information, but somebody else will answer it. A couple minutes later, someone else answers. I'm like, what am I here for? I'm just kind of here just to make sure.
See what's going on.
Yeah, make sure I basically make sure no one's like having big issues, and if they do, I'll DM them. But it's just like, everyone seems to be fine. I'm just here.
No, I totally get it. Yeah, but it's all honestly, like you mentioned, the small cons. Like, that's the only thing we really applied to. Like, with like fan expos and stuff, we were like, it's not worth the gamble this year. Yeah. Like, Portland was.
Did you do Portland again?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I was in San Fran, and my neighbor across from me, they're like,
again?
I don't know, I haven't texted them yet, but they're like, I'm going to Portland. I'm like, sorry. And they're like, what? I'm like, it snowed, and I'm pretty sure there's more exhibitors and artists than there were actual attendees. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how you are. If I see like, definitely I love cons that show artists badges.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I can tell the goddamn difference.
Yep.
No offense to exhibitors. I don't like to give as many discounts to exhibitors because they're normally selling to big stuff.
It's proxies and stuff as well.
Proxies
People just work in a day job.
But if someone has an artist, there's certain cons that are like, artist badge. And I'm like, I'm like, you're an artist? I'm like, well, you draw, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I want to buy something. Like, I throw you in a discount since we're all in the same boat. Or art trade, whatever. We all do that. Mm-hmm. So I love that. And that's what Portland was. It was just artists buying from other artists.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't want to sell to you, but I have no money. I need to sell to you. I'm sorry. I'll give you like a discount, but it's like, buy something here. Here's something for you.
Yeah.
Well, and that was just a freak one, too.
Oh,
like, I mean, because it was crazy, because we were in L.A. Both of us were in L.A.
Yep.
And we drove from L.A. to Portland in one day. Oh. And as we're driving up, we're getting near Redding, and it's like, this pass closed, and it's like, what do you mean closed? I have to go through there, and I'm not taking the sketchy mountain highway all the way up. Yeah. So like we're driving, and we get about 5 miles away from like their cutoff, and it was like the apocalypse. And I'm not kidding. You're talking probably 1,000 semis.
Oh,
each side of the freeway was completely like, I mean, bumper to bumper. I've got pictures of it somewhere. It's crazy. And then all the exits were semis, and we're just like, we're fucked. We're gonna be stuck in Redding, California. Let's go Redding.
To be fair, if you got stuck, you would have made just about the same amount of money there as you did at Portland.
Yeah, right? Oh my God. But yeah, we ended up making it through, and it was like, this is fine, and then we got like over the pass, and we're like, oh my God, I'm glad I drive a Jeep. Like it was scary. It was like, okay, cool, dude. I'm really glad, because like, and you could tell people weren't like ready for it, because you were hitting that like hard, slushy, wet snow. It was just like, I'm gonna go 25, and everyone's like speeding past me, and then sure enough, you'll see a car over here, a car over here. They slow down. It's like, okay, cool, you learned your lesson. Good job. Like, don't pass the guy in 4-wheel drive. Like, what are you doing?
But they wanted to go fast.
Oh man.
I don't know how you get that idea. Well, I guess no one has ever seen snow, right? But even then, you know,
just but it blew my mind because Portland, I'll say I've had the best hotel. It was so nice. The hotel I stayed. It was like a 5-minute walk, and I just remember, I put on like a hoodie because I'm a hot guy. Like. I'm sexy.
Damn, he runs hot.
But I'm just like always hot. So I go outside. I'm like, it's a little cold. Put on my hoodie, flip up my hood. I'm walking down the street, and I get in there, and the person's like, you walked out there? I'm like, yeah. It's like 5-minute walk, like this much snow on the ground. And they're like, dude, the news was saying if you're out there for like 15 minutes, you can get frostbite.
Okay,
and I'm
dramatic, dude.
It's not that bad at all. I can go out there for another 20 and be fine.
Yeah. Well, it was because we stayed up in Vancouver because we found like some of the hotels are cheaper up there. In Portland.
Yep.
And we're like, okay, cool. We got to find a place to eat, and it's like Ghost Town. And it's like coming from Montana. It's like, guys, this is nothing. Like, what is going on here?
Just
like,
shower.
Like, I just need some food. Like, the grocery stores are closed. Like, I can't even make a sandwich.
Bro, everything's empty. Everyone's raided.
We found a Wendy's, and we like shoot in there, and you could tell they're getting ready to close. And we're just like, this is and they like, it was fresh. It was perfect. And literally, as we pulled out, the sign clicked off. We were like, all right, good. Glad we made it right.
I was picturing
in
like you pull up to the thing, you drive away, flick you off. We got to clean more than
they were about to turn off their fryer.
Yeah.
And he shows up.
Dude, you know, so many of those places that just had a very good excuse.
Oh, yeah.
That day. They're like, yeah, this is fine. No one's coming. We get free day off.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing good about Portland for me was like where my hotel was. It was a bar underneath, bar food. And then
nice.
it was across the street was like a Japanese place. So they were just open the whole time. And I'm just like,
that's cool.
But it was, expensive. So it's just like, just losing more money. Yes, I need
More
to
to
eat
the
them.
hole.
Yeah, well, you mentioned food. That's one thing that's just, I mean, I'm from Montana. For reference, there's nothing up there. Like when I was young, I went on a cruise, and I had all the other kids convinced that we rode horses to school. We just got internet.
You don't?
Yeah, it was like, oh man, we were all strapped to fight off the Indians when we were going to school, and they're like, really? It's like, no, I'm wearing pants. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, look at my Nikes. Like, what the hell? Yeah. But we don't have. There's like nothing. There's like no crate. Like, you don't have like round ones or anything big, right?
Yeah.
So like when you go out, it's like, okay, cool. We're gonna go find like a ramen shop, which is like you think, oh, everyone has a ramen shop. No. Or if we do, it's like bougie and weird, and it's like
$40 a
We
meal.
barely had any here for a while.
Yeah,
except
Utah
for like
blew
one
up.
or a couple like secret ones people kind of knew of.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like huge going to travel.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well,
then-
that's the only thing I love about traveling.
Yeah,
I'm like,
time
to get some different food, not McDonald's for the fourth time.
Oh my
in a
god,
row.
yeah. That drove one of my buddies nuts because we would like. There were sometimes it's like, okay, we don't want to spend a lot of money, so the first time we stayed in Portland, we were in. Oh my god, we stayed in basically the John Wick Hotel.
Okay.
It was bizarre. Like, I mean, literally, you walked in the lobby, it was just gold. It was I shouldn't be here.
I spent too much money.
And the valet is like, yeah, don't go here at night, don't go here at night, don't go here. And it's like, okay, cool. We're just going to get Domino's. So by the time we were done, we had a stack of Domino's pizzas, boxes out big in the room. And it was just like, okay, sometimes you have to eat Domino's, but other times, like, no, we're going to go find
That reminds
something
me, I went to Uwukan in Arizona, and it was not
ass.
great. Our second worst
That was
con.
one in Mesa, right?
Yeah, the
No,
Mesa.
like,
out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it was like legit nowhere.
Yeah.
And we're like,
man.
I'm like, it's our second year. These pictures look really good. I go
my
there.
God,
I rent a car because it's just far enough away where I'm
Sure.
like, I can't get a hotel close. That's not going to cost me like $1,000. So I'm like, I'll get a farther place, pay for a car, go drive around. We did so bad. Like, one, I found barbecue, one of the best barbecue places. That was pretty close to my hotel. So I was like, I'll eat there. And then like Friday we made nearly no money. So I was like,
Jesus.
I found a Smith's or whatever the Smith's out there is.
Albertsons.
Kroger, Albert, whatever.
Yeah.
So I went there. I'm like, buy a microwaved meal. I spent like $2. I'm like, I got, and then it was like, didn't make much money Saturday. And I'm like, I'm just going to eat again. I'm just going to use my money. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with eating another microwave meal for like 2 days in a row.
Well, and sometimes you have to, you know, it's one of those things. It's like, as much as like, if the con doesn't go well, it's like, as much as you want to wallow in it, at the same time, it's like, I'll have fun when I'm out here.
Yeah. Well, the good thing
what's
is
the worst that can happen?
Boys,
you know?
he doesn't eat. If we're not with him, he's just gonna stay
He
here.
filter feeds.
I bring my one bottle of water, some snacks, and that's it.
That's
until
it.
he leaves.
you're lucky if I bring
It's
snacks.
not unless one of us is with them that he actually
Oh my God.
I will tell you my con diet right now. This is me if I travel by myself.
Sure.
So at the airport, I like the little nib Twizzlers.
Okay.
So I buy a bag of those.
Okay.
Buy a bottle of water.
That's $20 right there.
There. That's it. That's my con until dinner.
It's not
Every
like you're
day.
eating like a king, though. Like,
No. That Twizzlers, that lasts the 3 to 4 day con.
oh my God. Okay, maybe we got to get you something else. Yeah. Oh my. Anymore, it's like, okay, how do I sneak this cooler in? Like, we got one of the flip top.
Yeah,
ones.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, we're gonna put this here and hide it with some boxes.
No one
and pack it
normally
full of
cares,
shit.
to be honest with you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cons that are like, you're not supposed to bring food. And then you're
I'm a
like,
vendor, please.
I'm like, nom,
Yeah.
just like snacking on like peanuts or something. If I'm
Yeah, you
lucky.
watch a vendor walk in with DoorDash. It's like, okay, cool. Like, they
don't care.
Well, it's like when we go. They normally send me to go get food, so I'll get food for everybody. Just bring it in. No one says anything.
Yeah,
one
no one
cares.
cares. I think it's more them just covering themselves.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of things with like those like contracts. Like if you actually
It's the
read through
contract
them,
for like the people that sell food. They're trying to make it so they get money, which is understandable.
Oh, yeah,
I don't want to pay $30 for a hot dog or 4 chicken nuggets that are cold. And you're like, did you warm them up? Oh yeah, I got you.
The fries are so frozen.
Oh. Yeah, every once in a while you get that food and you're like, as you're eating, you're like, oh man, I already feel ill.
Like, what's happening?
How'd you get into cons? And how long have you been doing them for?
This is a fun story.
Okay.
So I've always done art.
Yep.
And I've always tried to do the hustle. So the first one was I did woodworking. So I was trying to do like dice boxes and stuff. Didn't pan out. I was not. I didn't have the setup for it. Yeah. So that fell apart. Then it was miniature painting. And so I did Warhammer minis for years. And I got to the point I would call myself a professional miniature painter.
Like commission based?
Yes, I did some commissions. I was doing a lot of like local what are they called? Like competitions and stuff. And was just sweeping.
Nice.
Like it was one of those things. Like they did this thing called Ever Chosen, and it was basically it went at a local level and then it went to an international level. If you won the local level, and there was not even a contest, and there were like 10, 20 people that had entered, and it's not a huge thing, but it was like sweep, and it was like I even sat in the game shop that was like we had the voting for, and was like painting the whole time, had people come and ask me questions, and it was part of like that thing. Just could never get Instagram to pop off, and I just kind of got to a point where it's like I don't like doing this anymore.
I do feel like dice, figures, anything that's you're customizing, tabletop. Instagram or any social media is very hard to build.
Oh, it's so hard.
Because, I think there's a lot of them.
Yes.
So you're just fighting a whole thing. It's like the same thing like I do the 3D cards. It's everyone loves them, but it's so hard to build that following for it because there's so many out there.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing I think I bring to the table for the cards is faster and cheaper than most of the companies. But it's just like, if I have them at the con, everyone loves them. If it's online, it's like, I can find them online. It's like, whatever. So you just like
follow like the bigger, the big giant freaking
the like
profile.
6 big card cutters. And then there's the other people. And I'm the other person.
Well, so then it was one of those things. I was working with the postal service for at the time, and it was like I had my issues with them, and that's a whole different story. But my partner has done art ever since I've known her, and I was like, well, I've drawn for a long time. I want to try digital. So she had an extra tablet, and I started like just doing like it was off of Batman the Animated Series. I was just doing vectors off of that. And I was like, okay, like tracing over the thing, and I was like, oh wow, this is totally new. Like I can do this. So I was like, I started watching a bunch of the new anime, got a bunch of stickers together, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take my old name, that was the other thing. I did film. For almost a decade. I forgot about that. Yeah,
only a decade. It's small.
So that was what I started with. I started with that from middle school up in basically out of high school till I was almost like 23, 24. I did short films. None of them were never popped off. But it was, I've still had like $10,000 in film gear sitting around, which always transferred over other stuff. Because like, cool, the $3,000 camera can take really nice pictures of this piece of plastic. So I started. I adopted the panicking, which was that was always my thing from childhood. I was like, okay, so we'll do panicking art, whatever. It's panicking stickers. I want to do stickers. I've been buying Fresh Tango stickers. I've been buying Kurosaku stickers, like the kingpins in the community. And so I started making them and found a company, got them printed, and then was like, all right, I think it was 16 designs, something like that. I had some alts that I had done. Like I said, I'd done some of the tracing stuff for like vectoring and just to have like a selection. And then my partner had decided she had applied to a con in Helena, which is only like an hour and a half, 2 hours away from us. And I was like, well, can I split the booth with you? You already got a bunch of stuff. You're already selling. You're already doing this full time. Let me in on this. I want to try it out. So we had a plan to split an 8-foot table. Great. They get a hold of us a week before we leave. No, you don't get to split a table anymore. Here's your own table. And I'm like, shit. 5.5 panels to fill an 8-foot table. I have
perfect.
No print. And it was like, okay, cool. So I got a bunch of stuff printed. I mean, I'm talking like 15 of each thing. I'm like, I'm going to sell so much. And we go, and it was small, and I was really poopy about it. I like the end of the first day, I think I had made like 150, maybe $200. I was destroyed. So I'm like, I've barely made my table back. Like, I'm not going to make hotel. and I'm trying to enjoy myself. And then it was really funny. This guy comes up and he goes, do you have a book of everything else? Like, where's the rest of your stuff? And I was like, this is all my stuff. Like, I don't have anything else. He's like, oh. And then, like, walked away. And he didn't mean anything by it. I actually talked to him later on about it, how inspiring it was, and he felt really bad. But so we were driving home after the third day, and I was like, I only made $500, but I covered everything. And I'm like, I'm getting frustrated with the post office more and more. A bunch of stuff's happening. I'm like, this, you know, I thought I could do this, whatever. And by the time I made it home, I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to do this I'm going to try to get to this full time. Because if I can make $500 off like 12 designs.
Oh, yeah. That's us right
over
there.
a weekend.
The world's my oyster at this point.
Yeah.
And it was all uphill downhill from there, excuse me. Uphill.
Uphill.
Yeah, uphill.
He went downhill $1 per day.
But no,
I'm on the streets right now.
yeah, after that we applied to we applied to every single con we could try to get our hands on. And a lot of it was we were just like I didn't have enough. I think a lot of it too was like, okay, like it looks like I was a reseller because of the stuff I was doing, and I was still trying to put my own flair into it and everything else, but it was hard.
Yeah.
You know, so then I was like, okay, I moved away from doing the direct like from anime style into doing my own thing and kind of, you know, rotating that way, and it started to pick up a little more steam. And then it was the next con we got into was Fan Expo Portland, and that was the real big one where it was like, okay, cool. Like I pulled in like triple, I think it was like, I want to say it was like 1,500, something like that. Yep. It was like, cool, I covered everything, I've made profit, like I don't regret this decision anymore.
Yeah.
And then that same year, I think I did 5 or 6 cons, and I went back to that first convention again. I'm name drop. It's Uki Soracon. It's amazing. Okay. It's one of the best. It's actually, I think it's my best show. And it's super small, but everyone is really nice, and like we know the event coordinators now. They're super awesome. But yeah, we went back and it was like, cool. I pulled in way more than I did the first year, and I was like, okay, cool. It was just the amount of stuff I had. Like, it was like, sweet, this is going somewhere now.
See, the funny thing is when you're saying it's like, yeah, you printed like 15 of each thing. You're like, that's a lot. My brain was like, that's how much I want to print now, because I did what you did, where I was like, I'll print a lot.
Print 500
Not that number. But my brain was like, because it was like first con, and I was like, I don't know how much to print.
Sure.
My brain's like, I like this art. I think, it's a newer show. Probably will sell.
Yep.
I printed 50 of everything, and I'm still holding on to those today.
Well, that's like I remember when we first started traveling, you had like the brick.
Oh, I had
the brick of prints.
We also used to carry 3 sizes of prints.
Oh,
it was the big, the medium, the small. Mediums never sold.
Yep.
Smalls sold about 30 times to our big ones. So, so my brain was like, oh, okay, maybe I don't print so many big ones anymore. So now we've shrunk mainly to small, and I'll print about 5 of the big ones.
Dude,
instead of
we
printing
used
like
to
20.
print and cut our own stickers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's
we
right.
did that
It took
too.
so fucking
Well, that's why when I ordered the Peak stickers, because I ordered it from this European company that everyone was saying was really good. Like everyone bought their charms from there at the time.
Yep.
And it was a good company. Like I won't say they only did the one side of the charm. The stickers are still really good, like high quality. But I was like, oh, I need to buy 50, because I think that was maybe the minimum order at the time through the company. I can't remember.
Sure.
But we only had like 5 Peak stickers. So I was like, I'll buy 50 of each. Like $200 all together.
Yeah.
Like, you math it out, 50 times 5 per sticker, you're making more than that.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, nice. And then, we sold like, I don't know, 5.
Yep.
And you're just like, got so many stickers left. And then I'm just now I order from this other company where it's like I can order 25 of a sticker.
Okay.
And 25 of is the minimum order, but you can split it with 2 designs.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's like 15 each. So
Yeah.
that's my now minimum is 15 each, and then I can test if it's worth it or not.
Yeah, and I that's what I've gone back to. My original sticker printer, she's kind of come back out of hiding, and so I can do them like I do the bigger ones. They're like 5-6 inches, and so I can do 5. So it's like, okay, cool. If one design doesn't sell super great, I'm not out like a ton of money.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's like at the same time, like for other things, like I started doing like I showed you, was the shaker bottle stickers.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, okay, to get the clear, I had to go out of the States. I had to go to Canada. It's like, cool. For that, it's a 15 minimum, and it's a gamble.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like one of those things I was kind of tentative on. I still have a bunch of them, but at the same time, like, you know, I haven't really advertised for them as well as I probably should have.
I have the same thing. We have 2 movement stickers, and I couldn't I Googled where to find them. No one sells them, and I found this one company. Minimum was like 100. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And so I had 2 designs. I had an Anya and a Comey. And I'm just like, these are popular.
Yeah.
And Anya is one of those that carry on.
Yep.
Comey seems to be really popular because I don't think a lot of people have art of her anymore.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
just like, you have a Comey art? I'm like, yeah. I'll take 7. You're like, oh, okay, here you go. But I got these out of Ukraine.
Oh, wow.
Before the war.
No. It was like during, legit, like the war started. I sent my order in, and it was like, he's like, I got you, boss. Sent them out and everything. I was like,
crazy.
and I still have a lot of them because the order was so big. But it was like almost $1.
Those
per
stickers are
sticker.
great,
That's
too.
not bad. That's not
Yeah.
bad.
You
And
stick them on something, they never come off.
I don't know what adhesive they
Never
put
come
on
off,
it.
dude.
Like I warn, I don't warn about any other sticker, but I'm
Yeah.
like, this sticker, you put it on your car,
It's never
make
coming
sure
off.
you get it where you want it, because it like when you pull it, it's like, I'm pretty sure the adhesive will be on that car. Like when that car explodes, it's just gonna still be there. It's holding the car together. You're
Sure, yeah.
like,
It's gonna be there after the apocalypse.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, and that's one thing I've really noticed. It's like one thing I'd recommend to any artist is like don't skimp out on like quality.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like,
People can tell.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, and you don't think they will. Like, there's some things you can get away with. Like if like you have like your cut lines on like a Kiss cut sticker are a little off.
Yeah.
You might be the only one to notice that. But if you pick up like prints are a big one for me.
Yeah, and
like
it feels bad.
Yeah. Like if they're like super thin, I'm like, ugh.
no.
Because like we go through again, I'll name drop Minutemen Press. They're nationwide. Anyone that's getting into this, like, go through them. They'll print anything. They're not cat print like crazy. Like they'll do whatever.
That's who I go through.
But they will do. They'll do any they'll do not safe for work. They'll do safe for work.
Yeah.
And they're really easy to work with. So like I can go in. Like I just put an order in before we left town. I was like, cool. I need 5 of everything. I've got, I think it was like 23 designs. And she's like, cool, when do you need them by? I'm like, next week. She's like, bet. And it's just like, I know I'll get a call on Tuesday when we're driving back, say they're here. And I'm like, all right, I'll pick them up Wednesday morning.
See, we have a local shop that I use sometimes. They're a little more expensive. It's just
Sure.
The only thing is, it's like if I need them today, they'll come today.
Yeah.
But they come. It's like if I do my small ones,
You have to cut them yourself.
I have to cut them out.
Oh, no.
So it's like I order all these, and like back when we our first con.
Behind the booth, just
Yeah, I cut out like 2 of each. So one for display and one if someone wants it, right?
Yeah.
And I would remember we'd have them out on display, like on the table. They weren't even on the cubes.
Yeah.
They were just on the table. It's like, And they're like, oh, I want that one. And I'm like, okay, here you go. I'm like, go, Bob, put this on.
I just still remember him selling to people, like both of us in the back. Just
not even like the paper
cutter, just scissors.
Oh, man.
I will say, our first prints, like these guys, like,
They weren't that straight. They weren't that bad.
Oh, that's
and
funny.
I'd be like, give me those.
Oh, that's amazing.
We're cutting stickers out.
And we had stickers too, I cut out. Because it was like the first time you didn't know what was going to say.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing too. Like I feel like a lot of people like are almost afraid to ask questions. And it's like I saw something the other day from, it was like an art growth page, and it was like, real artists don't compete. And I think that was kind of big.
Yeah.
It was like because I feel like a lot of shops are starting to get kind of weird with like things. And it's it's like if you're doing like, it's not gonna hurt you to tell someone where you get something printed.
Oh, I
Because,
don't
like,
care at all. I'm
your
just like,
yeah, like your quality stuff is the quality's the same, but your art's different from my art, and they're different from their art.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a whole thing.
I do think there is some competition in some art
Sure,
because like
sure.
we'll do really good because we switched to shirts. A lot of our bigger
Yes.
stuff is shirts. That's our big thing, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like we do skateboards, but that's like we got to hit the anime. Plus they got to be a skater. Plus they have to have money.
That's the one. That's the once in a blue moon. It goes off, and you're just like.
It's more just to have it on the booth because people go, "Ooh, skateboard."
One in 3 of them. Like,
And I said that happens once in a blue moon. But our T-shirts are probably moneymaker at this point.
Okay.
So it's just like brings people over. People want T-shirts because either they're all like us. Our walls are just filled with stuff. It's like, do you have a smaller size? I'm like, dude, it's 11 by or a 5 by 7. I can't. You want like a 2 by 1? Like, but it's just like T-shirts. If there's not a lot of T-shirt people, we kill like double my numbers compared to any other con.
Yeah.
But then it's like if there's just a lot of T-shirts or a lot of the same, like went to Florida, a lot of VTuber art.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of VTuber art.
Fair.
So, like, I don't consider my art as good as some of the other VTuber artists. So it's just like, we have unusual stuff. Like, we have a tarot deck for it, so that helps.
Yeah. Yes.
But it's like, would I want this piece of art or that piece of art? That's like the only competition you
yes,
have.
I can agree with there. But
I never see it as competition as more to me of like a goal. It's like, you know, you may have this art now. My art is still getting better.
Yeah, I want to get to that point.
Yeah. You're trained, and I went to a whole YouTube school of.
Right? Oh man, like I'm self-taught. Damn it, I didn't go to 4 years art school. I've been struggling behind this tablet.
Well, I think especially like when you're first starting out, you don't know who to ask, right? Because you're not gonna go on Reddit, and then they have different experience. They live somewhere else, so like you don't know until you do it, and then you're like, oh, you're a local artist. You've been doing it this X amount of years, and you're like, oh, what do you do? Where do you go? Well,
I feel like that's half of the great reason of just going to a con first anyway, right? Because then you're there with people, and as long as you're willing to ask even just like the people, your neighbors, right? The people next to you, you learn so much.
I would say I'm an introvert, like normally. Like I don't want to go up to someone and talk. If I don't have to. I know it's this guy thinks I'm lying. In a normal life, well, you know me at work. I don't talk to anybody. But at cons, this is the only time you'll see me. I'll talk to every person that comes up to the booth because I'll I do the hello, and then I can vibe off of their hello back basically. Or if they don't say anything,
their lack of hello.
If they don't say anything, you go, okay, I'll just look at the ceiling. Hopefully they want something.
I'll vibe with you later.
But I go up to I try to talk to all the artists next to me. It's just like I want to get to know them. I'm stuck next to you the whole damn con, so we might as well talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Once in a while, you get like the quiet people, and you're like, well, it's gonna be a long con. But then I do reach out to like other vendors that the tarot cards. I want to do a full deck of. Yeah. I found someone that just sells tarot cards.
Yeah,
we saw him at the con.
Set. Yeah.
So I was like, he showed them off to me. I was like, oh, where do you get this? And I asked them, and it's like, oh yeah, they reached out to me when I was doing a Kickstarter. I'm like,
oh wow.
So I'm like, okay, I'll DM you, and then we can talk about it. I feel like if you're an artist, you want to. I would recommend going to talk to other artists.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
Because even if you are popular or you've done it for a while, it's just good to just build your circle. Because you see a lot of people at the con, same people. Like I've seen you 3, maybe 4 times.
At least, yeah.
It's just like the only way, because I saw you in ALA. I think it was the first time, but I didn't really talk too much to you because your partner was my neighbor.
Yes, because I was on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, and you were like in the corner back, and it's like, I came up and talked a little bit, and then it was Portland. And that con was just so slow.
Yeah, it was just everyone was just kind of wandering around. Yeah.
And you were close enough to me and Low-Key Sketch. Our other guy. And he was just like, we'll just talk. And that's what we did. We'd talk in the middle. You'd look around, make sure no one's at your booth.
Like, how's the booth doing? Okay, we're good.
And it's like, you see a guy's like, I'll be back in a second. You're like, you go get that sale. And then you get there and they leave and you go, what a shame.
Well, and that's a huge one, like you said, like making the connections at cons, because the community is very, I want to say it's almost tight knit, because like there's one group, it's like a couple we've seen, like we saw every con last year except for one, and it was like I think they went to like 40 something cons. They were on the road every weekend, and it's like cool, like they are.
I know who you're talking about.
Yep. Oh, I know you know who I'm talking about. But they're an amazing resource because they know everything. They did every part of the country. It's like, and they're like, don't go here, don't go here, go here, don't go here. If you want to save money, do this. Like, here's a printer, here's this. It's like, cool. They're setting an example for now I can do for other people.
And it's crazy because that same group is normally the group I think I hang out with, if we're talking about the same group. And one of their artists is like a real big artist. Like he sells every con, and I know him. And I'm like, I was always intimidated. Like people with bigger numbers, bigger art, I feel more intimidated to go up to because it's like,
same.
Do you really want to talk to me? Like,
I get it.
So it was like one of my friends, Jason friend, was in that group, and then he was like, "Oh, let me talk to this guy." And then we went out, and then it was like, "Oh, I got so much resource out of this." And then he started talking at other cons. So I was just like, "Oh, I've learned so much." And just like, if you are intimidated, maybe it's weird. Try to find another friend. Try to get on the little loops, and then you can join all together. Yeah.
Well, and even if it's like just a message online too, like I think that's one thing I'm horrible about because
I'm so bad online.
I've got all these art because I'm trying to grow on Twitter. Like that's my one big thing because I mean I'm trying to move away from safe for work to more not safe for work. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm not leaving the safe work, and it's really hard to like advertise out on Instagram,
Yep. Oh yeah.
So it's like, I want to move to like the Blue Sky, the Twitter, like grow that out. It's like I don't know what I'm doing. No. And I've got all these other artists I've been following for years, and they have been able to consistently grow. And it's like, okay, I want to reach out to them and message them, but I don't want to be like the freeloader. So what do you do? And I just need, there's that little hurdle. And I know once I just like send the messages out to people, because I think that's another thing too, is like don't expect a message back from everybody.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there's also a lot of vendors I've gone up to where you go, "Oh, hey, how's your day?" My old thing was I used to try to hand out free stickers or stuff. Yep. And that's how I would break the ice, basically. But there's a lot of bigger artists that are like, "Nah, I'm good." And you're like, "Okay, have a good one." You just walk away.
Fuck those.
I don't want to be that guy, but at least say hi. But
well, what's funny? So you mentioned I noticed those people start to kind of fall away from it. Like the people, because when it was there was someone at Fan Expo Portland, and they were huge. It was like, oh, I know who this person is. And then I've been following them online, and I just noticed they weren't very nice. And I was like, well, that's frustrating. Like I'm being nice to you. Like at least you could be cordial.
Yeah.
And I noticed they went to that con, and they went to another con down the line, and then ghost. Yeah. It was like, huh. Like, I don't know if there's a correlation with that, but it's just like, that's kind of interesting because you see all the people that are all like, wee, conventions. It's like, oh, they're still going. Yeah. And they're selling online and going nuts, but I don't know.
Well, cause, to a certain degree, you have to have a love for the game, like love for the system, love for actually selling the business side of it, right? Yep. Because art is great and you can post it online, you can grow there and you have amazing art, but when it comes down to it at a con, you are selling your stuff.
Yes.
So that like customer persona, whether that be for your fellow vendors or anything else, has to be there.
Oh yeah,
or else it'll just be miserable.
Oh yeah, I totally agree.
I'd say we're running a little long. Is there any information you'd like to tell other artists that are starting off, or
oh my god,
what's your big recommendation?
The biggest thing I tell everyone is keep going. Like don't stop. Because even right now, it's a hard time. All artists and vendors and everything are having it's rough. But it's not going to stay like that forever.
Yep.
If you want to do this, if you want to, I do this full time. If you want to do it full time, you have to put the hours in. You have to bust. You have to bust your ass. And and if that means you're sitting behind the tablet for 80 hours a week and you're shipping stuff out and you're doing the social media, so be it. It's your dream. You want to do it.
I would say it's I do this. I do my art almost full time. It feels like but I do have a full job. I work 40 to 50 hours.
We're hanging out. He's on his iPad. So
I'm just drawing. It's
we go to lunch. At work.
I draw at lunch.
But that's what I mean though. You're getting after it, and that's huge. We're lucky, because we live in cost of living in Montana is cheap.
Yeah.
People in California, everything else.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot harder to get there. Mm-hmm. But if you want it, you're hungry enough for it. Get after it. Yep. Do not stop going after it. Because you'll get there. And that passion will bleed into your stuff too. Because you can tell when someone's just doing it okay, I'm going through the paces, I'm just making this, here's my goofy chibi art for the month. It's okay, cool, it's kind of soulless. But the people that really want it, it's wow.
Yeah.
You can see there's little bits of detail and everything else. And the customer, the viewer, whatever it is, they feel that. Mm-hmm. And that's what you want, to gain that little bit of a spark of emotion, even if it's just the slightest bit of that's enough that you might enough people, that dog piles on and creates the following and everything else.
Yeah, our big thing when we first started was meme stickers. We had the muscle mice, and people would point, laugh, and they'd flex, and you'd flex back just because you're like, you don't want it. Like if they want to buy it, I want at least to have a good reputation with everybody. Like, oh, he's the funny guy.
Yep.
It's a muscle mice.
So that's my recommendation. Also, is just to go out. If you are an artist, I know we're all introverts, most of us at least.
Yeah.
Make sure that attendees have a fun time too.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, they're not going to come back.
Yep.
And they're like, I went to Artist Alley and they had nothing. And you're like, yeah, but you want to make them have fun.
Think every person that comes up to your booth is their very first con experience.
Yeah.
Because that way, like, if you're you want them to leave your booth always wanting to come back.
Yep.
Not just your booth, mind you, to every booth. Because like if you sour them on cons, like they might, you want them to come back. And again, not even for a money thing. You want them to have fun.
Yeah.
You want them to stay in the community. Like you want them to keep doing stuff.
This is a life pro tip. I think if you have leftover stickers that you're not selling, like it's been a while, right?
Yeah. We have these.
You give them away to children.
Yep.
7 out of 10 times it turns into a sell.
Or-
The parents feels bad and they just give you money. And you're like, I'll take it.
Or you give them to a cosplayer. I do that all the time. Like, I got you as a sticker. Give me a second. I'll whip it out. I'll give them the sticker, and they'll be like, how much you want? I'm like, no, this is for you.
Yeah, take the sticker.
And then they'll be like, I gotta buy something. I'm like, no, you don't have to. But sure, come on over here, buddy.
I truly believe vibes works wonders.
Yeah.
Right? Just like the general vibe around you, and like how you are with everybody, even in the artist, everyone sees that going through, and will gravitate towards it.
That's true. I do agree. I said the whole con's a vibe.
Yeah,
I agree.
And like you said, if you're an artist that wants to start out, I think find someone to split a booth with.
Yep.
Maybe 3 people. I don't know.
I've seen that.
Yep.
Ask questions while you're there, or if you're just visiting, having fun as an attendee. Ask questions, and I think if I can DM it, to your local artist that you like, then
I do that also. Like if people have questions about certain things, I'm like, here's my Instagram.
Yep.
Just DM
same.
me. I'll give you hints.
Are not assholes.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I've got a ton of people. People message me all the time, like, "Hey, this is like, here you go."
Yeah.
Like,
I have this, or I'll have questions. How'd you do this? I'm like, oh, this is how I did it. And
Yep.
Like in the card cutting, I can't remember his Instagram fully. It's like Yu-Gi-Oh 3D, I think, is a cutter.
Okay.
And I had questions how he made some glossy like parts of the card. He's like, I just use this type of resin, and then he told me exactly, and then now my cards all have that because it's just a good thing. But you got anything to plug before the end of the podcast?
Yeah. So Instagram is Pandaking Stickers. Twitter, Blue Sky is Pandaking Art. Okay. I'm kind of transferring over to that pseudonym, and then I'm starting to subscribe to Star Adult this year. It's basically just Patreon, but you can actually post stuff on there without them taking your stuff down.
Oh, nice.
I believe it's the same thing. It's Pandaking Art, and then Pandaking Stickers for my website. All my stickers, shirts, prints, all that stuff.
What's the next con they can find you at?
Isekai Anime in Salt Lake. Yes, in March.
We'll be there.
Hell yeah.
You can see both of us there. I said we'll have it all in the link. So just send us out later, and then we'll have everyone be able to click on it.
If you heard this podcast before, come say hi.
Yeah. And if you are another local art, not even local, if you're just an artist, we will do. What are those services? Discord and calls
Video
and
call.
stuff.
Video call,
We'll have them in the background. You don't have to be on the
Zoom
show.
call.
Thank you guys for watching.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Peace.